And we're joined in today for a second or third time now.
Third time, actually.
Third time.
Yes, yeah.
Tim Froude, CEO of Sokoman. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Brendan.
Absolutely. So a lot has been going on over the summer. Obviously, that's the main drilling time. Can you have an update for shareholders?
Yeah, well, we're in the midst of phase 2. Obviously, we had a very successful phase 1 with a significant discovery hole at 1801, and we're trying our best to finish the 10,000 meters that we proposed for phase 2. I think it'll be a little tough to get that done within the calendar year, given that the lab will shut down, before that, and we want to make sure that we've got everything that we possibly can that's going to be sampled and assayed in the lab. But we've got about 25 holes finished right now, and over 1,000 samples waiting for results to come back. And that doesn't count, obviously, what we've already released. So it's going to be a busy time, and we hope to have at least one news release prior to everything shutting down for the Christmas period.
Yeah, and we were talking just before we went live with this. We were talking about the fact I had asked, "Are you still drilling?" And because being in Newfoundland and obviously not being in the mountains in Yukon and upper BC, you're able to still be drilling at this point where many other people are starting to shut down.
Absolutely. I mean, the holiday period obviously is a time when everybody basically shuts down for a few weeks, and we're no exception. But you're correct. Logistically, Moosehead is a dream. It's the Trans-Canada Highway cuts through the northern part of it. We've got lots of access internally from old drill roads and old logging roads, and winters aren't what they used to be. So we'll be able to drill well into December, and at that point shut down, try and get everything we can get as possible into the lab for assay, and and then look to a January startup. Once there's sufficient ice conditions to basically start phase 3, because that'll be a strong component moving forward. Given that the eastern trend actually sits largely beneath a small lake that would provide excellent access from drilling it from above, which is now basically where the focus will be for the eastern trend moving forward.
Mm-hmm. No, you're talking about phase 3, but recently, over the last few days, I believe it was actually, phase 2 just came out, and we were going through some drill results there. Are you able to speak about that? Are you excited about it? Does it change your game plan?
Well, actually, all of the above. Phase 2, we started with a pretty good hole, actually 24.9 meters, I believe, at 33 grams, which was a really good follow-up to 1801. We're starting to get a better picture now of the structure, and actually the model that we were thinking was in play for the mineralization in the eastern trend has actually changed to the point where now it's become clear to us that the body of rock that's mineralized is actually dipping in a different direction than we had anticipated after we drilled 1801, to the point where, as I mentioned earlier, phase 3 will now be focused. Basically, it's going to be an ice platform-based program to test what looks to be a more flatter dipping north trending zone more effectively and more cost effectively from the lake. So and we're still formulating that plan. We don't have a fixed number of meters, but phase 3, if you want to call it that, will include whatever we don't get drilled in the 10,000 meters as proposed in phase 2. It doesn't look like we're going to get 10,000 meters, but that's fine. We're funded for that. So we'll add that meterage onto whatever we determine to be appropriate for phase 3, and looking forward to a startup, hopefully, in late January, after we get all the results back. Permits, of course, we're permitting drilling on the ice, so that'll take a little bit longer. And with the Christmas period, everything just kind of slows down a little bit. But we're really excited about phase 3. It's like we're getting more excited for each progressive phase, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So you will be continuing drilling throughout the year. Obviously, Christmas break, as you said, everyone's the family. You take a little bit of a break. The labs are down and all of that as well. But you will be drilling in January moving forward. Was that always the plan of going all year round, or is it because this new area that you're going into gives you a new advantage of being able to drill, or was that the game plan the entire time?
No, and again, I'll speak to the logistics of the property. I mean, you can pretty well drill year round. Obviously, there are periods when, like spring breakup is probably the worst time, and the longest period of time when drilling is not really effective based on just the conditions for the roads and things. And but in the Christmas period as well is another time. But it was always our plan basically to just keep building on the results. Keep moving ahead, keep hitting the zones, And as well, we still have, in addition to the eastern trend, the high grade at the eastern trend, we still have lots of isolated other targets that still require testing, and will be part of phase 3 moving forward as well.
Very nice. Now let's switch gears more so to the stock market. The stock market for mining has been rather bleak in a sense that we're having news come out for different companies, and there doesn't seem to really be any legs in there. I believe the day of the news release you guys had record volume, actually. I could stand corrected, but I believe that was the most volume your stock has seen since its inception. But it was also a sell-off from that. Do you know, like, what are the different reasons why that would happen, or is it an industry-wide thing? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's a bit frustrating, especially if you're a shareholder, you know, and you bought, you know, at or around the time of of the release of the first phase of results. I mean, we had some pretty incredible trading days, north of 20 million shares on multiple days, which is, you know, which is quite remarkable. I guess if you're looking to get in and get out of a stock quickly, I guess it's your treat. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we're luckier than than a lot of companies in that, you know, we are, you know, we are a liquid stock, I guess, and we don't trade by appointment. I can't really explain why the stock is, you know, sitting back at its current levels, other than just a general malaise. I mean, you know, even locally back home. I mean, we have a very good, you know, growing resource, marathon gold. You know, 4 million ounces, and they're 60-odd cents. You know, I mean, it's I don't know what they are today, but you know, severely undervalued. But I mean, you know, when you see instances like that, you know, I guess you just have to say, well, it's just the way things are in the market these days, and we just have to do our job, basically. You know, we're financed. We're going to move forward, keep producing results, keep moving the pegs further, and at some point, the stock hopefully will, you know, realize its potential.
Yeah, and again, I do see a broader pattern, especially across the mining stocks throughout this fall. Not many have gained traction. When they did, they were traded. They weren't invested, and you could really see that right across the board. With your specific stock, when it comes to different options and different warrants that are out there, were there any that were in the money before and that was possibly into this as well, or do you have much more still outstanding, or are you ready for the next level?
Good question. Yeah, we did see the exercise of somewhere between 13 and 14 million warrants after the first run-up, which brought, you know, a nice chunk of money, over 800,000, in fact, to our treasury. There's still about that many left at prices between 5 and 9 cents that are still out there. We've seen a couple of small, you know, exercises, but certainly nothing to you know, explain that there's cheap paper, you know, suddenly flooding on the market. And I would assume the ones that were exercised have been traded already. So, you know, but, you know, like I said, we've always been a very liquid stock, like I said, which I guess is good in some respects. And, you know, if you're a trader, it's probably ideal. And maybe that's what's happening, right? Yeah,
traders have really, so just being in our different community and chat rooms and just watching and talking to a lot of people who are traders, they've traded the mining stocks very, very well. So it's perfect for a trader's world, but you also want to be able to have a world where investors get a little bit from there as well. And I think right now just there's a lot of concerns in North America. It's market-wise. You know, it's not just your company, it's not just gold, it's not just mining. I think it's very broad right now. A lot of people are really trying to find, okay, when are things going to find their footing in the markets? But it never lasts, though.
No.
There's all it's called a cycle for a reason. You have your peaks and you have your troughs. A lot of people do believe right now that gold and mining stocks and exploration are in a trough. And we're waiting to see when that, what's going to ignite it.
Well, I think I was speaking with that on that topic, very topic this morning with some people, and basically interest rates, you know, have to start to come down. I think that's been demonstrated over the years that, you know, with flatter interest rates, you know, it's more attractive for gold. And obviously the U.S. dollar has a very big role to play. So, you know, there are several factors at it, but, you know, the investment community has changed drastically, you know, in the past, even recent, like 5 or 10 years, in terms of, you know, the mom and pops that were out there and that used to drive the junior markets, you know, they just don't seem to be there anymore. It's all largely block trades and stuff that, you know, we can't control, and people are trading for a penny or 2 pennies, and you know, if you do that several times a day and you can make, you know, a few $1,000, you know, sitting at home on your couch, I guess, you know, that's what you're going to do, you know. And but at some point, you know, the story will, you know, will get out, and you know, obviously the next level for us is to attract, you know, the attention of maybe some bigger companies, and move the stock forward, you know, with support from you know, strong hands in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you'll need that, and I'm sure that they're starting to look at. I mean, I speak to people all the time with their different investments, and they're definitely looking at mining stocks and different gold plays and all that, and preparing an entry. But it seems to be the consensus that that preparation is still preparation. They're still really waiting to see what the market will do. But it sounds like you've got a couple holes still to come out. Assays, as you said earlier, hopefully before Christmas break, before the labs go on there. I think you said a 2-week break? Yeah,
they're closed for the whole Christmas period, starting around the 20th of December through to the New Year's. So, yeah, we want to make sure we've got as much as we can, you know, in the system prior to that, and then hopefully within a couple of weeks of that, after Christmas, we'll be, you know, either in receipt of all of our results, or certainly the ones that are critical to, you know, to interpreting the story.
Yeah.
And start as soon as permits and ice conditions allow. Yeah, we're looking. It's going to be a great third program. I'm really excited about it.
Well, absolutely, Willie. I appreciate the time coming on the show. I appreciate you coming on, obviously, the investors that are in your company, but also people who may not have heard you before, being able to find out a little bit more about you. So always appreciative of your time, and look forward to having you again on here in the near future.
Thanks, Brendan.
Absolutely. Take care.